Discover the weird sex lives of women inside an Ottoman Sultan's harem. Welcome to our deep dive into one of history's most secretive and misunderstood places, the Ottoman Sultan's harem. Often romanticized in Western imagination, the reality inside this paradise of pleasure was much darker. This video unravels the hidden truths behind the luxurious walls of the Sultan's harem, where power, politics, and lust shaped the lives of the women who lived there. We often look back at the past with a nostalgic lens, but for many women, especially those in the Ottoman Sultan's harem, life was far from ideal. The so-called glory was filled with violence and exploitation, especially for women who became property under the control of powerful men. The Sultan's harem was a place where unchecked lust and debauchery flourished. These women were trained from a young age to meet the expectations of pleasure. But was life in the harem simply a form of slavery, or did the women have a say in their fate? While the harem was undeniably beautiful, filled with luxurious rooms and gardens, it was also a prison. The women were the Sultan's property, hidden away from the outside world. Only select members of the court, under the scrutiny of the eunuchs, could enter this secluded paradise. The eunuchs played a crucial role as guardians of the harem. Because they were considered safe from temptation, they held significant power, controlling access to the women and learning intimate secrets of both the harem and the court. Inside the harem, the women were more than just objects of desire. The environment was designed to provide peace and luxuriousness, a retreat from the chaos outside. However, it was also a place where 400 rooms catered to the varied pleasures of the men who ruled the empire. The harem wasn't just for courtesans, it was also home to the Sultan's wives, female relatives, and servants. Even the Sultan's male progeny lived here until they turned 12. It was a complex community governed by strict rules and traditions. Not all women in the harem held the same status. The lowest tier, the odalisques or iqbals, served as chambermaids, while those like the jeddik were there to serve the Sultan but not engage in sexual relations. The future of these women depended on their ability to please the men of the court, or more importantly, the Sultan himself. The most powerful woman in the harem was the Valide Sultan, the Sultan's mother. She controlled everything inside the harem, and her favor was the key to advancement. Her power extended even to choosing her son's concubines, influencing the court's politics and dynamics. The politics of the harem were deeply tied to the fate of the women. The concubine who bore the Sultan a son could rise above the others, gaining influence and power. But the Valide Sultan's reign was only as secure as her son's life. Once he was gone, the power passed to the next sultan's wife. It's a common misconception that all women in the harem were slaves. Some were the Sultan's wives, who lived freely and close to their concubine counterparts. Although technically free, tensions between the wives and other women often led to conflicts. Contrary to popular belief, not all harem women were available to the Sultan at all times. While the Sultan was undeniably the most powerful figure, rules did exist within the harem. However, those rules could change depending on the Sultan's desires. Being a harem woman was more than just about beauty. The women were taught refinement, maturity, and confidence, much like attending a prestigious school. They learned how to integrate into court life, mastering skills like music, poetry, and even literature and geography. The women of the harem were famed for their beauty, but they were also skilled in seduction and eroticism. They were trained in various arts, such as dance, poetry, and calligraphy, to ensure they could entertain and engage the elite members of the court. The women of the harem came from various backgrounds, purchased from slave markets across Europe and the Middle East. Their diverse origins, Russia, Greece, Turkey, Ukraine, and Iran, only added to the allure of the Sultan's harem, creating a multicultural, yet isolated, world. The Ottoman Sultan's harem was far more complex than the westernized fantasies often depict. It was a place where power and pleasure intersected, but it was also a prison for the women who lived there. From education to political maneuvering, the lives of these women were shaped by forces beyond their control. The harem remains a symbol of luxury, mystery, and oppression, offering a window into the darker side of imperial power,